Have you ever thought about quitting your career in music or the arts? Not sure where to turn to get clear on what you actually want versus what you think you should do? We're going to crack this uncomfortable conversation wide open, so be sure to watch all the way to the end and join us in the conversation below in the comments. Also be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a video from me where I share a tool, tip, or mindset shift with you every single Tuesday right here on this channel. If you're new here, I'm Ellen. I'm a professional life coach to musicians, artists, writers, dancers, and creative entrepreneurs of all kinds from all over the world, as well as a professional opera singer myself. The conversation we're going to open today is one that I've had with almost every client I've worked with, and the result of which is always the basis of massive transformation in their lives. First, I want to talk about the top 3 mindsets that I come across as a life coach that are usually the foundation beneath this conversation. The first and probably most common context that I encounter that frames this kind of a conversation is what I call black and white thinking. When an artist comes to me with a conversation or discussion around quitting their career, it usually occurs within the sort of mindset that things occur in black and white, either or, all or nothing. This sort of thinking is very common among high-achieving people because often when they decide to commit to something, then they go all in, which means they totally devote themselves to the task at hand. And while that's a great thing, it's a very limiting pattern to put yourself in because it only allows you 2 options. You are either fully in or fully out. So you can imagine when someone wants to talk about quitting, that is simply a reflection of the pattern in their lives that something can either be black and white, either or all in or all out. If you're considering quitting, consider that this might actually be part of the way you black and white your life. The second really disempowering mindset that I notice occur a lot is externally driven goals. Again, dealing with high-achieving people, they tend to be very goal-oriented, which can be very empowering and results-oriented, but very costly to the process. So what I see happen over the course of a career is someone who starts as an artist because it's a passion, a hobby, or just simply self-expression becomes something that is motivated by external results. Getting hired by certain companies, getting certain salary wages, earning status and acclaim, or even just that hunger to call yourself a full-time musician. Some people will stop at nothing and accept every gig imaginable so that they can pay the bills with their craft, which can lead to burnout. And when an artist burns out on their passion and their craft, the quitting conversation comes to the table. And the third most common mindset I see accompanying this quitting conversation is that they feel like they're doing it alone. Again, at a certain point in our careers, it's very common to see a lot of artists start isolating themselves so that they're practicing more or getting in the studio more or simply putting the rubber to the road with improving their craft, but in an isolated way. They feel like they spend a lot of their professional working hours alone in a practice room, or they relate to their career like they are on this lonely road to the top. Many artists and performers that I work with tend to fill up their tank with performances and collaborations, and when there are many months or weeks in between those performances where they are preparing, they can feel very lonely or isolated. So of 1, 2, and 3, which one are you encountering the most in your mindset right now? Is it the black and white thinking, externally driven goals, or feeling alone and isolated in your career? Comment below and let me know which one's impacting you the most within this conversation. And now it's time for the shift. For each of these 3 mindsets, I'm going to offer something to look at to open it up and shift perspective that has you feeling stuck or disempowered about your career. Obviously, this is just a starting place. So if you hear something in this conversation for yourself and you would like to connect to me personally about it, please do visit the link in the description box to book a complimentary call with me, and I'd be happy to work with you on this. So when I'm working with someone who tends to operate from a black and white, either or, all or nothing sort of mindset, something that we generally work extremely hard as a partnership for is a breakthrough in a mindset that incorporates both and, also called a win-win. We as people are very conditioned to creating win-loses in our lives. We get something at a cost of something. So many artists relate to their careers from this perspective that they get to win at having a career that they're passionate about and that fulfills them at a cost financially. Or the other way around, many artists feel that people who pursue a stronger financial foundation tend to sacrifice and lose out on their art. As a coach, I don't buy it. I genuinely believe that there are at least 1,000 different win-win situations that you could create in your life that would give you both what you need and what you want. From a black and white mindset, it's extremely limiting to your options in terms of being all in and investing all of your time, energy, and money into your craft, or walking away from it entirely for a different career or financial situation. So obviously there's lots and lots of options available to you. I've done a video on day jobs that actually meet your conditions of satisfaction as a musician or artist that allow you to create that win-win in your life. But the place it has to start is in your mind. If you are conditioned to creating win-loses or all or nothings or black and white thinking, then a breakthrough in your mindset would be having it all, creating a both and. When you operate from both and, quitting isn't even part of the conversation because that's just more of the nothing category. Instead, from a both and, you have the opportunity to shift directions and make new choices about what sort of gigs you take, about how you use your craft during the day, making a new plan of action for you to share that craft. So even if it does involve a change in career, it's not like you're quitting music or your art. You can absolutely shift it to a hobby or something that you share on an amateur level, but that's not your only option. With people who encounter the limiting mindset that their goals tend to be externally driven, we often work on having a breakthrough in their relationship to goals and action. What that asks of you is to have a breakthrough in relating to your projects, your career, and everything you do from a perspective that it is an expression of your being. Everything that you do is a vessel for how you be in the world. So by all means, there are many goals that we can set for ourselves that make us feel powerful and like we're on top of the world. But if we're only looking to achieve the next goal so that we feel that way, rather than the other way around, where what we create is simply because we are coming from that being of power and heart and vision, it's a different experience for you in the goal process. Many musicians and artists that I work with end up getting very burnt out and considering quitting their careers because of this relationship to the career or their goals. It feels outside of themselves and it feels like a measurement of their worth or value in the world. And it doesn't have to. And finally, if you are among those who feel very isolated and disconnected from any sense of community, like you're doing this whole career alone, then my offering to you is simple. Get connected and supported at a totally different level. It might even make you uncomfortable to reach out for this kind of support, but there is a vast community, both at the local level and through the internet, that connects all of these like-minded artists to you if you just put in a little of the work to find them. One of those people is sitting right in front of you. Much of my work revolves around simple partnership with each of my clients, so that they don't feel alone in what they're creating in their careers or what they envision for their life. When you know someone else cares about your success and fulfillment as much as you do, it's a very different experience of the process because you feel connected and supported the whole way. So find a way to connect to your community, whether it's hashtags on Instagram, joining YouTube communities like this one, finding a Facebook group, or even going to a local church or community choir. And consider you might expand your team. And what I mean by that is your voice or instrument instructor, your coach, your musical coach. So if you saw yourself in some of those disempowering mindsets and gained something out of the mindset shifts and suggestions that I offer today, let me know by hitting that like button, subscribe button, and commenting below. If you'd like to catch more of my personal story and experience about this, head over to my blog where I share this video every Monday, the day before it comes out here on YouTube on Tuesday. Also, as I said, feel free to book yourself a free call with me to have this conversation with a partner. Often the transformation and changes that we're seeking in our lives are something that exists just out of focus, and having someone else point to it helps to point your eye in the direction that you want to go. I'm happy to be that for you, and I look forward to connecting to you. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Also, be sure not to miss next week's video on how to plan, produce, and perform your own show, recital, or concert. So see you next week.